Okay, so in this video, I would like to talk to you about Canada, which is one of the British colony. So we are going to find out some more information about Canada, such as their history, geography, food, culture, customs, and many more things like this. So I hope you're all ready. So let's start doing this now. First of all, I would like to talk to you about the history of Canada. So, beginning with 1763 Treaty of Paris, New France, of which the colony of Canada was a part, becomes a part of the British Empire. So, Canada became a part of British Empire in 1763, as you can see here. There are some other countries which are part of the British Empire too, which you can see in the picture, which is here above. So you have different countries which are shown, which are under the British Empire, so under Britain. So Canada unified province until 1869 and earned its independence in 1982. So then after its independence, Canada formed a government which consisted of Senate and the House of Commons. If you can see a picture here below of the Prime Minister of Canada, whose name is Justin Trudeau, and he's talking to the Queen Elizabeth in the picture. And yeah, that's about it for the history. Now let's move on to the geography of Canada. So, geography of Canada. Canada's capital city is Ottawa. There are so many other famous cities in Canada, such as Ontario, like Toronto, Alberta, British Columbia, Vancouver, and many more. Winnipeg, Calgary, and all these cities are really famous and always full of tourists visiting these beautiful cities. As Canada is also the second largest country in the world, and it is also the largest country in the Western Hemisphere. Also, Canada has the longest coastline. From east to west, it stretches almost, if you can see in the map here, it stretches almost 4,700 miles, which is 7,560 kilometers. Across the country, there are 6 different time zones. So if you're traveling from one place to another place, for example, if you are traveling from Quebec to British Columbia, you might have to change your times on your phones or anything like that, because the country is so big that it has different time zones as well. Now let's move on to the second part of the geography, which includes the lakes of Canada. So there is the greatest lake, the biggest lake in Canada, which is made of few different lakes, and the name of these different lakes are Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario, and Lake Erie. If you can see in the picture here, there's like a map of the Great Lake, which shows here below by the Niagara Falls picture. Okay, so all these Great Lakes make up the largest body of fresh water on Earth. The area of all Great Lake is 95,160 square miles. After this, we have the famous Niagara Falls, which are located in the border of Ontario, Canada, and New York, USA. The 3 waterfalls combine to produce the highest flow rate of water than any water flow on the earth. It is also illegal to go over the Niagara Falls, and it's not very smart to go over there. Then we have the Canadian Shields, as you can see in the picture above here. So the picture shows some of the oldest rocks in Canada. There are so many places like this in Canada which shows rocks and beautiful places like this which consist of rocks and everything. And there are some other pictures of Niagara Falls here and there. And then we have the Canadian Shield, and the Great Lake, which is amazing. Some more information about Canada's geography. The Eastern Canada, the province of Quebec, the Atlantic Ocean, and the New England states border with Atlantic Canada. Then we have the Pacific Ocean. The meaning of Pacific is peace. So this word comes from Latin, which and the name of the ocean was decided by one of the Portuguese explorers whose name was Ferdinand Magellan, and he decided this name in 1521, very long time ago. Okay, and next is the culture of Canada. So Canada is culturally diverse. There are so many people from different countries who live in Canada. As you can see in the pictures below, there are some people from Asia, there are people from some other Asian countries, there are Europeans, Chinese people, and all this. Canada is culturally diverse. This goes back to 1890s when it began inviting people from all over the world to settle in the country to help the country develop. Today there are so many people living in Canada who belong to different countries. They all follow their own religion, traditions, customs, and many more. Canada generally has a very open and accepting attitude towards different cultures and different religions. This is why Canada is called one of the multicultural countries in the world, because it has people who come from all around the world. Let's move on to the customs of Canada. Okay, so when you're meeting someone in Canada, it is very common to handshake or also introduce yourself if you're meeting for the first time by telling the other person your name and so on. So it is accompanied with a handshake. You have to look in the person's eyes and give a sincere smile. However, if you are a French Canadian, friends may greet each other by giving a light kiss on the cheek. Also, if you are invited in someone's house in Canada, it is very common that people take a good box of chocolates, flowers, or a bottle of wine, or any preferred gift which people like. Also, Canadian people are very friendly and casual. They are also very polite, and it is important to remember your manners if you want to get on well with the people. As with any large country, there is a great amount of variation in customs because in the country there are people who belong from different countries and different religions and everything. So if you travel from one place to another place, you will see people who come from different cultures. So it is important that you respect every culture and every tradition and every religion in Canada. So these are some of the festivals which are celebrated in Canada. The most famous is the Ottawa's Tulip Festival. So there is the Tulip Festival, then they have the Quebec's Winter Carnival, then they also have the Christmas, and as you can see in the picture, there is a picture of the Christmas market. Then they have the Canada Day, which is celebrated by families. They get together and most of the shops are closed. They spend some time together, they invite each other for dinner and spend some time and thank God for the independence. It's just like a Thanksgiving for Canadian people. Then they have they also celebrate Easter. Sikh people in Canada celebrate Vaisakhi. Then there is New Year, Mother's and Father's Day. Then there is also the Labor Day when everything is closed and everyone stays at home. Then let's talk about the languages in Canada. So the two official languages of Canada are English and French. If you ever travel to Canada, you will see the boards have signs in English and also in French, because there are because of the history of Canada and people who came from France, and everything like that. So French with English having the vast majority of speakers, around 60%, due to Canada's historically welcoming attitude to immigrants. The overall language mix spoken in the country is very diverse, with reasonable population speaking Chinese, Punjabi, Spanish, German and Italian, and many more other languages which people speak in the country. Then let's talk about the religions of the country. So there are different religions in the country, as you can see on the picture here in the center. But the most of the population, most of the people belong to Catholic religion, so Christian Catholics. Then there are Protestants, which are 20.3%, Orthodox, which are 1.6%, and other Christians who are 6.3%. Also, there are some Asian religions, as you can see below here. Muslims, which are 3.2%, Hindus 1.5%, Sikhs 1.4%, Buddhists 1.1%, and Jewish 1%. It is really important in Canada to respect every religion and every person, no matter what color, what is their skin color, no matter where they belong from, no matter what other cultures, traditions. It is really important to respect everyone in Canada. Okay, and now let's talk about the food in Canada. So you might have heard this before, but let me tell you now that Canadians are big eaters, with meat portions in particular dominating the Canadian meal. So they love meat, especially the cold weather there is, and people need protein and everything like that, so they love to eat meat. There are generally 3 meals, which include breakfast, lunch, dinner, and so on. So the breakfast often large and important in rural areas, but in urban areas is most often not eaten in a group. Lunch at the midday is the most often it includes a snack in urban areas, remains a substantial meal in the rural areas. Okay, then there is the dinner, which is the final and the formal meal of the day. So people love having dinner together with their families and so on. And there are some traditional Canadian foods which I have listed below, and there are some pictures of the traditional Canadian foods. So the first one is poutine, which you can see on the second picture here. Is fries with some gravy, some cheese, and so on. Bannock, butter tarts, Montreal style bagel, Caesar cocktail, ketchup chips, cinnamon bun. So these are all the foods which I have just shown you in the picture. I know they look delicious, don't they? Okay, next is the economy of Canada. So the currency is the Canadian dollar. The world leader, Canada is also the world leader of hydroelectricity. Also, Canada is the second largest oil resume holder after Saudi Arabia. The province of Alberta leads in the production of oil and natural gases in Canada. Canada is also the second in sawn softwood production after the USA. The province of Saskatchewan is the main agriculture province in Canada, and this part of Canada grows 45% of Canada's grains such as wheat, canola, flax, or rye. And that's it about Canada, and I hope you like this presentation. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.